Today's podcast is going to be a very raw and emotional one. I'm speaking to a mother who lived through what no parent ever should. She lost one of her daughters to suicide. A beautiful young girl who reached out for help but was failed by the very system that was meant to protect her. At the same time, she's fighting alongside her other daughter who's still with her, a true fighter who's battling cystic fibrosis. She's had a double lung transplant and doctors told her over and over she wouldn't make it this long, but she's defied every odd. 15 years on and she's still here, still fighting and still inspiring. This mother has turned her grief into something beautiful. She's transformed her garden into a fairy world in memory of her daughter. And today, while we talk, I'll be tattooing a fairy that symbolizes her. A dark-haired fairy, strong, gentle and full of meaning. We're going to talk about her story, what happened, how the system failed her, what needs to change, and how she's caring for one daughter while mourning the loss of another. This conversation is about truth, heartbreak, resilience and awareness, and something everybody needs to hear. So let's get into it. Hello Drew, thank you for joining me today, and it's a real pleasure to have you here with me. So would you like to introduce yourself? Maybe just tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Drew. I'm a mum of two girls. One sadly I've lost to suicide, and the other one, has had cystic fibrosis, 30 years. So my journey's been, eventful, painful, and but I've learned a lot.
So you've got two incredible daughters, one who's still fighting cystic fibrosis, and another one whose memory lives on through you. Can you tell us a bit about them?
Yeah, so Alethea was born 1995 and complicated pregnancy, and she come with a bang. And from the time she was born, I knew something was wrong. And then when she was 6 months old, I actually took her to the doctors, and they kind of said, "Oh my God, what's that smell?" And it was a nappy. And I said, "Well, that's her bowels." And fortunately, one of the nurses said, "Oh, do you know what? I need to do a test on that." And then they brought us in for the cystic fibrosis, which I never even knew existed because, it wasn't talked about. And then they did this salt test on her. And then I get a phone call telling me over the phone that she had cystic fibrosis. And with that, I phoned my mother, who lived in Manchester at the time, as I was in Cardiff. And she was like saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you sure?" And then I read about it, realising that the life was short. There wasn't much treatment. And I had this little baby that, our journey then was to experience that journey, in and out of hospitals, literally for 30 years. And that's because she's 30. And then I had Sophia in 2002, and she was just a very quiet child. She just didn't bother anyone. But I suppose for Sophia, she had to live through hospitals. Like, she knew no different. So what should have been normal was normal for her. And just life got complicated. And then, trying to balance both out. And then, sadly Sophia took her life last year, the 29th of November, suffering mental health since she was about 14 years old, all escalated with the traumas of her sister as well. So the dynamic is, I'm still trying to figure it all out myself, to be honest.
What were your daughters like growing up?
Oh, happy. Even through all the circumstances, everything, I think love went a long way, They both grew up very quickly, and people could never believe they were as young as they were, the way they came across, polite, kind, understanding. And Sophie had a thirst for knowledge. she was so technical and yeah, definitely an old soul, completely, utterly. And Alethea, the dynamic was just hospital, next treatments, keeping her alive, and yeah. But so Alethea went into horse riding from the age of 5 and gymnastics. She then persuaded us all to buy her a horse, yeah, that I looked after. Because she couldn't, because of the bugs in yes, it's funny. And then Sophie was more into singing, and she was just a tomboy. She liked dinosaurs and stuff. And yeah, it was, even under the circumstances, it was a happy household, you know.
And you say Sophia never really complained or moaned, because obviously she saw what you were going through with your other daughter.
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you think that took a toll on her?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think she didn't want to talk about her struggles because she saw what you're dealing with?
Yeah, yeah. She always felt like, I suppose, carrying the mental health was a burden, and she'd see she was a burden. Oh, I'm sorry. But in a way, as she got older, she feared hospitals. She didn't want to, you know, visit her sister and stuff. I suppose that's the kind of control that she had. But yeah, it always felt like if Sophia needed me, something would dramatically happen to Alethea. And obviously I'm trying to keep one alive, but then when Sophia tried to end her life when she was 14, I knew I was struggling, like trying to keep them both alive. So yeah, it did affect Sophia, but like I said, she was such a happy person, you know, she was everybody's person. She never, she always had, I think what she learnt from me and Alethea was, she always said, you know, she never met two people went through so much, yet she was as well. And she admired that. And that made her such a beautiful friends with the people as well, because she was their person that they could go to, you know. A 22-year-old, she was always an old soul. But she always felt like she wasn't going to be here for long. She always had that. Yeah.
All right.
It's very raw, isn't it? It's new.
Yeah. I guess so. We can take time and stuff, you know what I mean?
It's because I try to avoid it sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
She was a honest, she really was. She had this massive design, Sophie. She was amazing manifestation. So she decided to do like, she liked the 60s and 70s kind of stuff. And she had the loft after Alethea had moved out. And she turned it to a red, white and black room. So the black side of her room was full computered, and she got these computers and, you know, like anime and stuff like that. She was into all that kind of dark side of it all. But the way she could create something out of nothing, it was brilliant. Anything. She even got one of those old 1970 beds, like space bed. Yeah.
And how did you manage, you know, the cystic fibrosis from a young age?
I don't know. It's just, I know it sounds weird, but when I say it kind of saved me, having to know somebody I was responsible for needed more from me as a person, you know, you kind of just think, well, this is it, and you've got to learn to fight, because you're fighting against a system that doesn't really know what it's doing, and they give you this. I suppose they turn around and say, oh, well, you know, I'm sorry that child's got CF, but, you know, they may not live into their, you know, teens. You're kind of lucky to get that. So my mission was, that's not going to be our world. We're not having that. And so it was just basically, you have to hand yourself over. And that's another thing with CF. Once the hospital got hold of her, I started treating her for Pseudomonas, which goes into the lungs. It's airborne. We could tolerate Pseudomonas, but with cystic fibrosis, when it's the lungs, the Pseudomonas gets in and it starts to slowly damage the lungs. And then obviously starts, you're constantly doing physiotherapy on them to bang the mucus out the lungs.
Yeah.
And in a way, that kind of bonded a deeper relationship as me as a mother, because I'm constantly having to, encourage her to take medication, give her physiotherapy. I mean, she would have thought it was normal. Her friends were always intrigued when they saw her little physio and tablets and stuff. So yeah, you just got to get on with it. You have no choice. So you grow up quite rapidly.
And I guess, what sort of emotion do you feel if doctors say, she's not going to live this long, she won't see this age, and then she gets to that age, and then they say again, oh, but she probably won't live till this or that age.
Yeah.
And what does that do to you mentally and to your child to hear that from the doctors, you know what I mean?
Well, we had a bad aim with one doctor, I will tell you about that. She had evidence though every time they said stuff like that, because she had lost her friends. So the evidence was she may not. And the evidence was I tried to convince Alethea that she would be okay. So I didn't want to, I didn't want to cradle her too much that she lose her own self in her power, because if I did that and said, oh my God, you're ill, or this, then she'd surely be it. So it was kind of, I suppose, it's not a denial, because it came the storytelling of our lives, but, I think you handed power when they told us that.
Yeah.
But one time when she was 15, and she had a bout of pneumonia, and they put the tube into the wrong lung, they put it in wrong, so it caused her more problems.
Oh.
And I'll never forget it. So Professor David was like the doctor that I'd seen since I moved to Manchester, and I regarded him like a friend, I suppose. But this day he came in the room, and Alethea was really, really poorly, and he just said, oh, Miss Petrides, you're an intelligent woman, and Alethea, you're an intelligent girl. She's 15 now, yeah. But with your lungs being like what it is, and you're not on the transplant list, and basically he just said to me, do you want to go home and die? Or would you like to be here? And then he said, oh, I'm just going to go for a coffee while you make that decision.
Are you serious?
No.
How insensitive is that?
I know.
I mean, how can a doctor say things like that?
Yeah.
And then just nonchalant make a coffee as if it's normal?
Yeah, that's what he did, yeah. It wounded us that.
Did you ask him about it, or did you...
I couldn't talk to him again. Couldn't look at him. And I kind of looked at Alethea and went, oh, well, So, and she said, I know what they're saying, they're just basically saying there's no hope. And I knew in my heart, so I've always been a believer, that my conscience is saying, actually, she's not going to die. They're wrong. And call me mad. And they always thought I was a bit, wacky in that respect. But I fought so hard that doctors would run when they saw me, because I'd never let them, get away with nothing. Like, if they didn't look at her when they were talking to her, and I would just say, wow.
Very unprofessional.
Yeah, I said, you've known her for like all her life, and she's dying, and you couldn't even look at her, or put your hand on her, or show her any sense of empathy. I said, people like you need to retire, because give it to somebody who cares,
Yeah, I mean, doctors are there, you work with people because you care for people, you want to help them.
Yeah.
But it's sad, you see it actually more and more in today's health departments and sector, that many people just there, it's like they're there for a paycheck.
Yeah.
Like they don't care about the people.
No, there's no compassion, is there?
Yeah.
And we can all say, well, we know they're overworked and stuff, but these cystic fibrosis people and people with lungs problems, they have, specialised doctors, so you get to know them. You know, it's not like you meet a doctor
all the time. All their life.
Yeah.
And you've got to show compassion.
For Dr. I mean, when I did challenge him with that, there's a story there, because he did end up saving her life, because I did pull him up, you see. So, but that's a different doctor. But Professor David, when he had said that to Alethea, he actually said, took us down to critical care, because that's what they assumed, she was going to die that night. Me still being happy to, like, in denial, like she's going to be fine. I had to call all the family in, and we all got a Chinese. I know it sounds really weird, because the nurses were looking through the window like we were like, what the hell are we doing? But it was our way to keep being positive and just, you know, find light out of the situation for her sake. And I didn't want her to think I was scared, because if I show fear, she would have fear. I really truly believe our children pick up what we see. And but she didn't die that night. And then that conversation I just told you, Dr. Paniker, he did it to Alethea. And he broke down and said, but so many children have died, you know, I can't cope with it. I said, yeah, but so many children have lived, so why can't you fight for her? Why can't you get her on the list? You know, you told me she was on the list, you made a mistake, she wasn't on the list. And then he did. He actually phoned Great Ormond Street. Alethea had already had like a test down there. But what Great Ormond Street says, if you're not well enough to go down and have the rest of the tests, you can't go on the list. Yeah, because you're too weak. And believe it or not, the doctor in London said, you know what, just do all the tests there, get them done and send them. And that's what they did. And she managed to get on the list in March, was it 2011? And the call came May the 1st of that year. But if I hadn't had that conversation with Dr. Paniker, if I hadn't pulled him up, I remember hiding on the wall to chase him, because Alethea was, you know, she was going to go to a concert and they wouldn't let her go. And I said, oh my God, she's dying and you're not going to let us go to a concert. You know, wouldn't you want her to have an experience, you know? So he said, well, if you're going to sign her out, you have to do it. You have to sign something. I said, well, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And she got to go to that concert. Then she came back to the hospital and all her friends stayed over in the room and they got pizzas and stuff.
Oh, nice. That's nice. What concert did you go to?
Oh, I can't remember the name. Bad memory. Oh, God. Went to see them. They were Pink. You know Pink?
Yeah.
They were helping her. Oh, no, she'll tell you.
And what kind of bond did the two girls share?
Oh, God, yeah, they're extremely close. Alethea was very protective over Sophia. She was like literally everything. Absolutely. The hardest part, I think, they never ever grew apart from each other. They always had each other's back. But I think the more trauma Sophie was facing, and Alethea obviously being so much in hospital, it became less, you know. Yeah. But then when Alethea started the dialysis, obviously, because her kidneys are failing, well, they literally failed. We got the dialysis machine in the house, and Alethea would come to the house to have the dialysis, and Sophia would come down and spend, you know, a couple of hours. And yeah, Sophia wasn't as open as she was. She wrote. She's written so much poetry that actually we're putting in a book with all her poems.
Yeah, is this book available to buy?
Well, I was waiting for the police to hand me a phone and computer to see what else she's got stored. Because she always, you know, well, I tell you, even in school, the teachers were so like impressed with the way she wrote. She said words they said they never even heard of, and they had to look up in a dictionary because it was very old.
Did she read a lot?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes from reading, you know, and picking up.
Her mind was very expansive. Yeah, it was me and Leif like just living on the just like Leif never went to school, and you know, And then Sophia was just literally, yeah, thriving in school. You know the funniest thing with Alethea, right? So friends used to really get pissed off with this because, say Alethea from junior school never went to school, yeah, because she always had to have treatment. But she won all the awards. So like attendance award, she'd win. She'd win all the competition. And all her friends like thinking, wow, you've not even been here. Yeah, you know. Yeah, so the school always rewarded her in that aspect to still, you know, make her feel like she was a part of the school. And I had really good teachers that took on the role because it was a massive role for them as well. Because with cystic fibrosis, you can't digest food. And you need medication, enzymes. Every time she ate, she would have to have enzymes. And Alethea wouldn't swallow a tablet. So it was always, you put a spoon on your mouth, then you pour the crayon, and it would be on yogurt, and then she'd swallow it. But my mum's partner, Dorothy, said to her, if you swallow a tablet, I'll take you to Disney in Paris. Yeah. So this is before I became pregnant with Sophia. And it worked. Just like, you know, funny experience. But yeah, it's the total opposites. But yeah, they was very connected. They went to concerts together and stuff. Well, Alethea's more into screamo. Sophia, Sophia's just like, She's in like BTS and Korean bands. Oh, that's another thing with Sophia. Oh my God, her music lists like French, Korean, Japanese songs. Like in fact, none of us have heard this music. She always wanted to find the one person that wasn't noticed. She had a lot of empathy for people, and I suppose that comes from herself.
Yeah.
Even though, as much she must have felt like that, you know, because it was always something happening to her sister, and we couldn't change that because I'm being told she's going to die. And I'm trying to, you know what I mean? I'm torn between, you know. So I drop Sophia off. I'll go to the hospital, spend all the time in the hospital with Alethea. This is every day. Pick Sophia up from hospital, go back to the hospital, would have dinner at the hospital. And then Sophia would find herself in the playroom playing with the dinosaurs and stuff and her own imagination, which was brilliant. You know, for her, it was brilliant for her to get that. But she had to live that for many, many years up until the transplant. And that's where everything went wrong, the transplant. So 2011, I said to Sophia, because Sophia like literally was by my side all the time. And I said, look, Leaf's going to need a pair of lungs. I said, and you know, your sister's in a wheelchair, she's on a BiPAP machine, she's on a feeding tube. I'm going to get all that taken away so your sister can be like you. And I said, but one day I'm going to get that call and I'm going to have to leave you. And I just want you to know, you know, I'll be back. Just trust me. Everything will be okay. That bloody night, the phone call went at 3 o'clock in the morning. And Sophia was in my bed and she looked at me and a little tear rolled, didn't say a word. And I had to exchange 2 cars. I had to give it to my mum at 3 o'clock in the morning. So what happened then, I went straight to Great Ormond Street. And because the operation wasn't as clear cut, I was there for 7 weeks, yeah. And in those 7 weeks, my mind didn't even think, you know, phoning Sophia because I thought she'd be all right. She was my mum. I may have phoned her a few times, but I was so in this mess that the Great Ormond Street, not only did Alethea have the lung transplant, she had another 20 procedures while we were there because everything went wrong. A broken sternum, something else. So it's, you know, taking me in a room, saying, Miss Petrides, we don't think she's going to make it. And I'm like, no, she's going to make it. And then that trauma for Sophia was where it all started, like the abandonment. She felt abandoned. And what she thought was, which was 7 weeks, she thought it was 7 months that we were away for. And then when I came back from Great Ormond Street, I had to keep going back because of the, you know, back four.
Yeah.
So, it was a hard time for Sophia because she was at the junior school and exams and, you know. And then that's where I started finding she started getting very depressed. Yeah.
How did you pick up she's depressed? Did she tell you? Did she talk to you about it?
No. So what happened was I never went away, and my friend over the road had a spare ticket, and I've never done this. Yeah, it was really hard for me to leave the girls, but my friend said, "Do you want to just come away for a week?" You know, and my husband then. I said, "What do you think? You know, you always going to Iran. You know, maybe it'll be good for me to have a break." Well, what that triggered, I did go for that week, and I had this really bad feeling about like Sophia, and nothing came of it at that time. I was only gone a week, but obviously that abandonment thing came again because Mum's gone again.
Yeah.
I didn't, you know, I wish she had told me this, I really do. But Sophia was really, really good at hiding anything and always happy. That was the problem, she was always happy. And I was cleaning her room when I got back, and I found like 4 or 5 pages of each letter that she'd written to us all about this, you know, why she had committed suicide. I thought, wow. So I went on a mission then. I went to the school. I got her literally, I went to CAMS. I got her there twice a week. So this was like my journey with Sophia then, with the mental health. And I got her the best care. I stayed with her every time she went in. She never let me go into these meetings though. She was very private. Well, Alethea tells me absolutely everything, but Sophia wouldn't. Maybe that was just because that was her control. That's all she had, was that, yeah. And she did CAMS from the age of 14 to the age of just literally hitting 19 years old. She was there for a long time. And she was so good, and her writing, and they absolutely admired her, that she used to be on the panel for the CAMS, taking new people in, for like psychologists and stuff, because they appreciated her knowledge. And but one time I got a phone call from the CAMS, and they told me that Sophia had a mask and a cylinder of gas, and it was in the wardrobe, and Sophia was really scared that because it was still there, she may do it. Suicide idealization, isn't it? She wanted to keep it there, but what I found out was one night while I was away, she tried, put the mask on, got the thing, wrote the letters, but the mask broke.
Oh.
So that's how she survived, because it didn't work. So
that's
by
where it
an act
first
of God,
yeah.
she survived, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mm.
Now I wanted to ask you, how did your daughter with a CF inspire strength in the family?
Yeah. Well, with Alethea, she just never, ever complained. She just lived life to the full. It was, as a mother and a daughter, we were like the best of friends, yeah. So whenever we got on the ward, we would make an effort with everybody, yeah. And Alethea then, I would always encourage Alethea to talk to the nurses and the doctors. So I'd go on, go give me a hug. Yeah, she'd go, no, I'd say go. And it got to the point that she just shined wherever she went. You know, she'd get them like doing plays or like dance competitions, and the doctors and nurses had to watch all the CFs doing it, and they'd have to choose somebody, you know. So it became like a family there, you know. At that time, cystic fibrosis people could mix. So everybody, you know, got on, parents got on, we all became a family. So because Alethea just, everything was just, well, that's happened, got to move on. That was her way. And that taught me then, you know, to be humble by what she's gone through and never complain. And it's the same thing Sophie was doing as well. You know, these two girls were like women before their time. Mm. Too grown up before their time.
And when you think of your other daughter, what memories of her makes you smile the most?
Sophia?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, everything. She's just so kind. She used to try and, like I've got a bit of body dysmorphia and stuff like that. And I went on this mental thing, I need to lose weight, health things. I was always doing something, not realising really that was probably causing her a lot of anxiety. I was like, come on, I even got her up at 5 o'clock, come on, let's go for a walk, let's get fit. And when I look back on her letters, I realise what it was making her feel like. But she wouldn't tell me these things. But she was just so gentle. I've never met anyone. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
She was the most... I don't know, I can't even explain it, but her gentleness, her kindness, her way of seeing other people. She'd fight for the wrongs, like if you were trans, or she'd fight in their corner. She'd fight in everyone's corner, and she felt like the injustice of this world and the injustice for her sister. And she always said, why did us as a family have to go through so much? Like even the cats dying was like, it was hard on her, because she always felt like there was always a loss somewhere. Nothing was smooth. And any time we had something to enjoy, something would come after it. So all that joy was gone, Yeah. And it happened so much, Yeah. But I just miss her gentleness and her voice, her laughing. I used to listen to her on she absolutely loved like computer games, and she'd make, I think it's where you can make houses. I can't remember the name, but everyone does it apparently. And you could turn your whole world into a crystal house, and you make little people up, and her imagination just... She taught me a lot. And she taught her dad a lot as well, because he was Iranian and he was set in his way, and like people who were gay and stuff like that and trans. She just said, well, they're human, don't judge. She never judged anybody, ever. Never said a bad word about anyone, ever. Mad. Where me and Leif like, but Sophia never.
And so when was the first time you realised she's, suffering with her mental health? Was it that time period where you were going away?
Onwards, yeah.
And what helps did she reach out for, seek? Where did she seek help? Because she did.
Yeah, she did. Well, you know what happened? So she was turning 19 and the COVID thing happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that isolated us. So what should have been a transition to adult mental health, which is absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
From children's to adult, it's the same with cystic fibrosis. You go from child to adult. It's just appalling. Soon as you hit, this is the thing. This is what I went and told Cams. I said, you cradle these children so much, you give them so much, but then they hit 18, 19, and you throw them in a system that doesn't basically give a shit. So they're losing out two things. You know what I mean? So one minute they're all cradled and looked after, and the next minute, well, there you go, you're an adult now, so get on with it. Well, actually, she was a young adult who still had problems, and because of COVID, she couldn't get the help that she needed. So the only way I kept her safe, which I did, I was just so possessive over her, I would literally do everything. And maybe disabled her in a way, because if she didn't eat, I'd make sure she ate. She didn't tidy her room when she went out, I'd just run and clean it all for her. So mentally, I always believe you had a clear room, your mind feels a bit more clearer.
Yeah.
And she always did appreciate that. Just like even running a bath, like, come on, you gotta do it. I'll sing a song just to get a wash, like, you're gonna feel good to be cleaning all this. And she just used to giggle and laugh. But it was a huge effort for her to just even brush her hair.
And was she in uni, was it?
She tried that many times, yeah. And she even got a job in a blood bank, which I was surprised by, working with blood.
So where was was it psychologist that she went to go and speak to?
So when she was young or adult?
Okay, so when was the first time when she sought help?
14.
And who did she approach for that?
well, because she tried to commit suicide, I pushed it. It was me. I fought for all that, for her to get, because she wouldn't do that. So I got her the help, and I threw her into this help, and then I got her out of school. I said, there's no way she's going. And she'll come back and do her exams. And they tried to fight me, the school.
Right.
But I refused, and it was the best thing I ever did. And she went actually out of school for a year, because she was Iranian as well, and kids are kind of cruel as well, you know, little Middle Eastern looking, and, you know, stunning as she was. Kids always just got to find a flaw with somebody, haven't they? So she was very timid in school. She had to select. So she was friends with the ones that nobody would bother with, and she did that because I used to do that as well, you know. And I thought that was the sweet nature of hers. So at 14, so that was consistent, that help, and she had a psychiatrist that put her on medication for a bit. But then Sophia felt okay, and she didn't want to be on the medication. And then 2019, she couldn't get it, so she'd have to phone people and just talk. They tell you to phone 111, and that's what she used to do, just talk it through. But she never told me anything. No.
And then there was another point where she approached, seeked help.
Right, so Sophia met somebody at home, online. So a friend introduced that person to her. And, you know, it was really refreshing to hear her laughing and stuff, and she's not into any relationships before. So anyway, she decided to go Cardiff, I would say, what year are we in now? 2014. What year are we in?
2025.
God, hell, there you go. 2023, she would have met that person. And then she went to Cardiff, and the next thing, you got to remember, right? Sophia always at home, or my mum's safe space, yeah. Her friends would stay with her. She always did it. Film night, takeaways, friends, yeah. And then she said, oh, I'm going to go to university to study law. Now, my brother lives in Cardiff doing law, so yeah, that kind of ring. I said, but are you sure you're not going because of that person?
Yeah.
Because that person's in Cardiff, and, you know. And she said, no, she said, it's fine, I'm ready to do this, you know. And this person gave her the world, you know. And because Sophia's so gentle and kind, she made that person feel like they were, you know, put him on a pedestal.
So is this person a friend?
Yeah, so he's trans, yeah. He was called Sophia. I call him he now because I'm sorry, I just... Yeah, there's a huge... Out of respect, you know, Sophia was going through her own identity crisis, you know.
Yeah.
So I was challenging with that as well, with Sophia.
Yeah.
But I respect that part of her, but I found it difficult when they changed names, and I just said, you know, I'm dyslexic, so it's going to take me a while.
Yeah.
So forgive me. I'm not doing it on purpose or disrespect you. So this person then, Sophia came down, and I swear I couldn't believe it. She said, I've booked my accommodation. I went, right. She said, I've got the course. I went, wow. And then she said, I've got the money. I went, what? Bloody hell. I said, you sure about this? And my heart sank because I knew she was going somewhere I can keep an eye on her. Yeah. But then I've got to be the mother of a 22-year-old and say, wow, good luck, you know, we're there 100% for you. And then she left on September the 15th, which was her 22nd birthday. And we all drove her to Cardiff, and I swear we brought her everything. I mean, we wanted her to feel home from home.
Yeah.
So we all went, got all stuff, and yeah. But we saw this person she was with, and I don't know, I decided to take her out for dinner because it was obviously a birthday. And this person came and said, well, I've got to go now. And her face just dropped. And I looked at that person, I said, wow. I said, why'd you say that for? She's come all this way, and what, now you've got college work, and that's more important right now, and it's a birthday. And I thought, here we go, you know.
And this is now her friend, the trans.
The person she was with, yeah.
Did he, did you get a bad vibe from him, like?
I did.
Poison.
I did, but I had to. You've got to befriend somebody, haven't you? If you're an enemy, you've got to really befriend them.
Yes.
And that's what I did. And I met this person actually before. I forgot about that. He actually came to Manchester and stayed with us. And but then he did protect her a lot, and he did look after her. Now he had to go through all Sophia's episodes, and he was there for her. Yeah. But he was part of the episode because he was, what do you do when you sleep with lots of people? What's that?
Slag.
Similar, yeah. Monog. I can't say it. It's an identity, people, to sleep with everybody. And she goes, yeah, I'm fine. I'm his first person. Oh, wow, okay.
So he was Sophia's partner, actually. Mm-hmm. But he's trans.
Yeah.
So how does that work? So his gender is then what?
Female.
Female. Mm-hmm. But Sophia, what was her gender? And she's female.
Yeah, but then she was saying she felt like she was male. I said, I could identify with because she was always like a tomboy. Yeah. But she was very feminine.
Did he still have his births?
Yeah.
So how can he be a female
because
then?
He's transitioning. Yeah, I know.
Okay, yeah.
So it was a lot of awkwardness with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I shouldn't say this, but when he did stay, he had aftershave and stuff, and I thought, a bit odd, isn't it? But he was very. So in a way, whenever Sophia had meltdowns, and she had so many that nobody was telling me in Cardiff. So soon as Sophia hit Cardiff, she sought help. She did everything right. She went to university, said, I need the mental health team. I need mental health out of that. So she found the doctors. And so she was there September to realise by October she'd actually gone into hospital without kind of my knowledge and tried to hang herself.
Shit.
Yeah. And I only found... So I saw a letter that Sophia got. So she did an online diagnosis. I think she paid £750 for a diagnosis.
Wow, and online?
And they told her she had PPD, which is personality disorder, isn't it? And I thought, that doesn't add up because I know there's different symptoms, but with PPD you can be quite aggressive and mean and stuff like that, but Sophia wasn't. Very autistic because she's super intelligent, and very OCD. And she had a certain way of things and saw things differently to all of us. So she was highly neurodiverse. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, anyway, that happened in October. But you see, when it happened again, he would let me know and I would have to go through him first because Sophia had meltdowns and she couldn't be able to talk. But then when I could get her on the phone, with a bit of words of wisdom, she would take it and she'd feel better again.
Yeah.
Yeah? So you're thinking, okay, we got that one. But I always knew that there's a chance because she's got suicide idealization. So this person then told us that Sophia had brought something online, which is sodium nitrate. But then that person told me, it's okay, I got rid of it. So I thought, I'm not going to confront Sophia because that's going to send her into a meltdown because she doesn't like me, she wants to protect me, yeah? So if I say to Sophia, this sodium nitrate, knowing, I know this is what kills me as well, because he told me and told Sophia's friends that he had removed it. Or the other one was she didn't pick it up. So he knew about the sodium nitrate.
Was this the partner?
The partner, yeah.
So he knew she got it and he said, she don't have it anymore or he got rid of it.
Yeah.
So he basically lied about that.
Yeah, I told the police that they're not interested.
So they've never questioned him?
Oh, they questioned him just because they want to know why he went back after I told him Sophia was coming to mine. The police have been shit.
Yeah, and you hear about this quite a lot.
Yeah, they've really let me down. Like, when I even trying to get hold of them, I have to go to the coroner for them to answer me. Yeah,
wow.
Because that's how bad it is.
And where did she purchase this?
Online, on the black web.
So on the dark web, she got And do they know who she spoke to? Who she got it from?
Well, I found out all the information more than they
Yeah.
did. I found the bank statement and everything. So they took her phone and her computer, telling me, you know, because somebody else had done it a week before in Cardiff.
Right.
Sodium nitrate, yeah. So the fact that sodium nitrate, well, that's the other story, isn't it? Well, Sophia actually became really, really scared. I had a phone call from Sophia the day before, and she said to me, Mum, she said, I've been diagnosed that, you know, to find somewhere safe. I said, okay. I was her last option, okay?
Yeah.
She found a friend, so could they come and stay with her and all that. But I said, no, I said, well, come home. If she told me, I would have picked her up. So she couldn't catch a train. I would have picked her up.
Yeah.
So knowing Sophia, I said, okay, so she's done this many times, come home, yeah, stay with us for a while and go back. And she goes back on a high. We can always do that with her. We could get that input with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, even keel. But then that next morning, on Friday morning, I messaged her. She said, yeah, I'm coming. I thought, right, brilliant. You know, I'll cook your favourite dinner, blah, 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 everything's ready. And he messaged me to say, oh, you know, I'm just letting you know, I had to finish. We call her Azra. Sophia decided to call her name Azra. And I said, okay. He said, yeah, well, I'm just letting you know because, you know, she might be vulnerable. I said, that's fine. I said, thank you for letting me know. I said, but she's coming home. He said, well, I didn't know that. I said, well, yeah, she's coming home. Could have done it while she was at home. But yeah, okay. So then I messaged Sophia and said, look, are you okay? She goes, yeah, why? I went, no, just asking, are you okay? She said, yeah, I'm talking to my friend, Jess. I went, okay. That means she's not going to speak to me. And you know that pit in your stomach? I'm thinking, oh my God, you know, something don't feel right. So at 3:30, I was crafty in my room and she wouldn't answer and there was no voice on the phone. And I thought, oh God, so I've done this before, okay? I phoned her accommodation and just said, look, can you check up on my daughter? You know, she's struggling,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. And yeah, that's where it all went wrong. Yeah. I phoned up again. They wouldn't pick up the phone. I was like, oh, you know, they were supposed to look for me. Why aren't they picking up the phone? I phoned 8, 9 times. Apparently the police were saying to the person by the desk, do not answer the phone. I thought, why would they do that?
Right.
And the next thing then, and I knew it was going to happen, you know when you just know? About 40 minutes later, it's a knock on my door. And there's one copper looking at me, and I went, oh my God, she's done it, isn't she? She's gone, isn't she? And it's just like, oh. It's just like, that reality, that's it. Gone. And the way it was done. And then the worst traumas happened after that then. It wasn't even, you know, you lose your daughter, but to find out the other stuff as well, and the lack of care they gave her and treated her like they did. Yeah, no parent should have to even go through that. Yeah. So my timeline is that I thought I phoned and they found her in a room or something. And that would have made sense to me. And then CID, my brother's a lawyer, so my brother ran round there and trying to get information and stuff. And then the detective phoned me and said, look, she's left a letter. Because at one point when I found out she walked out the room, I thought she panicked and she didn't want to do it. So I just, fell to the floor. Like, you know, she died not wanting to die. And that's the worst thing. You know, someone did it and regrets it. That's even worse, isn't it? And there they die. So you think,
yeah,
you know. And then I found out actually she had died way before I even phoned. And they told me she wasn't identified. Yet she died. They went in her room. They took her notes. So I only found out 2 weeks later after the ambulance people left a letter in her accommodation that when I went to collect all her belongings, that I phoned the ambulance and they said, no, that's not true. We gave them the information. So that was wrong. So like I said to you before, I could have phoned my brother and she wouldn't have been alone. You know, a 22-year-old dies alone. Her body just dumped into a morgue. That's how it felt. And then I had to travel to Cardiff. They moved her from one hospital to another because there was no room for her. And then they put her in this room. I had all the police's CID there. Passed me this letter. And then when I saw her, no, it's not a look you want to see. Even her eyes were open. And I just said, I can't do this. You know, just my dad had just died in the same place, you know. But my dad's body was treated with respect. You know, I was handed his clothes and his belongings, a piece of hair. I was given handprints, you know, everything that you'd expect. But nothing, Sophia. Yeah. No clothes because they lost them. No handprints, nothing.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
That the whole situation.
It's cruel. They have a disrespect for people who commit suicide. And that was clearly shown to me, her lack of respect. And that's something I want to change as well. That's my challenge. You know, they should have just got as much respect, you know, with the hand and the hair and everything. But because it was poison, it left all her veins. And that's all I could see. It was just veins.
And you know, when you said about when she reached out twice for help and they sent her off to psychologist or whatever, she told them she's got poison, right?
Yeah.
And they told her to get rid of it herself.
Yeah.
And sent her off.
Yeah.
Now, that is complete lack on their side and very irresponsible. If somebody reach out to help, say, listen, I'm suicidal, twice coming to you, they tell you, I've got this poison that could kill me, and you say, well, just go get rid of it and off you go. I mean...
Well, that was the thing.
What the hell is that?
So it was that week, I think it was the 25th of November she went, told him exactly what she was worried about, which was him, because he had a partner coming. And she just couldn't tolerate it. It was causing us... She grieved, Sophia, when she grieved. Like, the world, it just caused her so much pain. She, you know... Because I remember sobbing when she said, that's how I cry, Mum. You know? And I was like, seriously? You know? I said, why don't you tell me this? You know? So she's in so much pain. So this guy kicks her while he's down. You don't kick somebody when they're down, do you? You know? When you know they're on the floor, they know...
Yeah.
Yes, Sophia may have been a bit too much in a sense because when you love somebody, it was all or nothing with her. So on the 25th, she told them this was going to happen. She was scared that she might commit suicide. With suicide idealisation, she said, and also that she had this particular poison, which if you look on the NHS is seen as a bioweapon. So if they had listened properly and done the research, what they should have done was actually say, do you know what? You're telling us because you want us to get rid of it. You don't want to die, so you're asking us to get rid of it. Like they did to me about the gas and the mask. They told me to remove it because you couldn't tell me yourself. So she got them to tell me. So I would remove it to keep her safe. So I knew exactly what she was doing when she did that. And then the second time was on the 27th of November. Now, I've fortunately got all the notes. And she went in again and again crying and saying, you know, and they're saying, oh, you know, a person looks well represented, well dressed. This is what they're writing. Tells us that she's got sodium nitrate in the room and if she took 100 grams it would kill her, but she doesn't want to die. And that was it. Like, wow, okay. So they let her go again.
You know, that's so upsetting, really. That, like, these people need to be held accountable. You know, be questioned and say, listen, you are working with people. You know, obviously nothing will bring anyone back, you know. But going forward, these people shouldn't be in a position to work with people if they don't have any compassion or time for them. You know, it's really upsetting and it's, what do you say to that? People like that shouldn't even be in a space like this.
But if you look back in 2020, this has been going on. No, they keep saying they do the same thing. So obviously it's taking me down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And the more I'm going deeper and deeper, the things that I'm finding out is just beyond just like these poor parents. And, we've got to fight, because what they keep saying is they apologise.
Yeah.
And then they'll say,
thanks.
well, we're going to have a meeting and we're going to do things differently. Like when?
Yeah.
What, 2021, 2022, 2023? You knew about sodium nitrate in 2020. I found it. I've got all the evidence.
Shocking.
That should have been dealt with then. The coroners are saying it.
Yeah.
So when I go for this inquest, they're going to say exactly the same thing.
It just shows you how much they don't care, really.
Yeah,
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Also the gun.
If you cared about it, anyone, even if a stranger would come tell me, listen, I've got this, you'd say, right, how can I help you? Give that shit to me. Let's flush it down. Or I don't know what. Seek you some help. Talk. Do you want to talk about stuff? And these people are put in a position to do that, and then they can't even do that.
Yeah.
No, it's shocking.
That's why I'm building a case against him.
Yeah, and you should, rightly so.
They literally mess with the wrong parent right now, because I've had to fight for all Alethea's treatment to keep her here.
Yeah.
And, I was well adapted for this one now. And I've told them that I've rang every single one. And what I did do, actually, when I found out, I rang Sophia's old colleges. I phoned up I had a meeting at CAMS to warn them. They didn't even know about sodium nitrate. None of them, not even in CAMS. I said it's an easy killer and it's easy to get hold of. Especially Amazon used to sell it until people started killing themselves with it.
Now, did you see the messages between Sophia and this person who sold her the poison on the dark web?
No. That's why they've got the computer.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's almost a year ago, and they still have the computer.
Yeah. It might be in the inquest, but it'll make no difference, because there was a program on it, Poison in the Post.
So they never know who sold it to her?
Probably not, no.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what they're kind of saying, oh, well, we can't find them, And then they said something about, well, we'll find them, but there'll be another person.
Yeah.
So where's the warning from the mental health then? Where are they in all this then? Why aren't they, educating people about sodium nitrate? They really should be. That's what pains me.
And I mean, do you feel justice was done?
No.
Absolutely not.
No. On all of it. The fact that losing her clothes, the fact that they left her the way they have, the way they didn't even call me. So she was regarded, after trying to hang herself, as severely, the safe thing. It was high.
Yeah.
Was she safe? No.
Yeah.
And then they knocked it down to she was all right 2 days later. They didn't follow her through. They didn't phone her. She was the one, Sophia, that phoned them every single time.
Yeah.
Not one person got in contact with her.
And do you feel you received proper support afterwards as a mother who lost a child?
No, because all I keep on hearing is you need to talk to somebody to get help. I'm thinking, well, that's what Sophia did. So what do you want me to do? I'm angry with them. So I'm not going to go down that path and ask them to help me. If they can help, it's like I feel like I'm betraying.
Yeah.
Because in fact, actually, the doctor did, because I was I am pretty traumatized by it. It's not just Sophia's thing, it's all of it, everything. That was the final nugget. I lost the one thing I was trying not to, and that's what really kills me. And he said, you need to seek help. So I went to Mind on my birthday last year, or this year, wasn't it, March? And I was sobbing, and it would take me a lot to go. In all the 30 years, I've never asked for help, I've been this little Viking, I can get on with it. And I suppose I was just trying to prove to myself that I could just cope with all this. And then when I couldn't cope, I went to Mind, and honest to God, they sat with me, this woman came in, they grabbed me by my hand, they said, oh my God, this is personal, it could have been my son, blah, blah, blah. And they said, I'm going to promise you we'll help you, and we'll help you with the case as well, we've got some stuff. And no one got in contact with me after.
Wow.
And then I sent an email about 2 months later, said, wow. I said, next time someone comes in like myself, don't hold your hand out to them.
Yeah.
Because yet again, you've failed, you know? And I was like in shock. And then when the doctor's telling me I need to get help to talk and stuff, I'm like, and I'll tell you that one. I had this conversation, so he told me to do it. So I thought, right, okay, I'll phone talking therapies. She sat with me for a whole hour like, on the phone, asking me all these bloody questions, making me open my door. Yeah, and this is how James said it. This is the problem. They open your door and they never close it. Okay? So they left me all this pain and all this journey. And then she said, oh, well, we're deeply full. It's a huge waiting list, but we'll put you on the list.
Wow.
And then I was traumatized then because I was like, you've just opened my story up and I'm seeing things in myself that I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
You know, and even when Karen picked me up yesterday, I said the same thing. Wow, I'm pretty traumatized just because I did that little bit of work.
Yeah.
How the hell did Sophia would have felt?
Yeah. And where do you feel the system failed her and you the most?
Yeah. By not having compassion, 2, not doing the work that they say. I feel like we're all an inconvenience.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
Yeah, that's how it comes across as well.
Yeah, yeah. I literally said to the woman who sent me all the notes, and I said to her, so when I went to pick up Sophia's belongings, there was a letter from the mental health saying she had an appointment on the 29th of January. She died on the, 29th of November, and they sent her a letter the 29th. So she had to wait that long to be seen. And I rang her up, I said, seriously, I said, what is it with you? Are we an inconvenience to you, or do you ever actually see things as a priority? Do you ever follow through with anything you say? I said, it seems to me when somebody comes to you for safety, that's what she did. I want safety. She actually said she wants to be admitted. And after she did something, she had a massive breakdown. One of the nurses did try to get her in, and it failed. And Sophia said the problem, she said, I tried to get help. I needed to, go into hospital. She said, the system's broken. They don't care about us. And then she actually wrote it down. I sent that to the coroner as well. She did it on Reddit. She used to talk about on Reddit.
And do you think the unis and that is properly equipped to, help students and people coming forward for help?
I don't know so much about that side of it all because Sophia, found it very difficult to go. But I was in the car with her once and a woman did phone, told her not to worry, they'll get her back in, So there was somebody there trying to support her, but I think she was from the university, but I never heard from her either. So I can't even get on Sophia's phone to know who that person was now.
And what would you say, what should have happened differently in her case?
So that's something I do need to mention. When she went on the 27th, they made Sophia, and it was like a childlike thing, how to find safety. So they got this little grid.
Yeah.
And they made a sign, like, write out, it's in her writing, what can you do to keep safe? One of them is play your computer games, watch a film, give the poison to somebody else to get rid of. I'm like, wow. I mean, salt. All you need is a bit of salt on your fingers. So they're literally putting somebody else at risk.
Yeah.
Put your hands under cold water. Basically, go home or whatever. But they made her write it all out, and I'm like, what? And that's what I said to him. She came to you.
Yeah.
What is it like? You'd say ring 111 if you need help. She rang you, or she came to you, and you've let her down.
Yeah.
And now you expect me, what? To just accept your apology? No. Because you're never going to change. It's like, for me, it feels like you come in at 10 to 5 and all they do is looking at the watch, thinking, oh God, here's another one. Same old shit. I need to go home. And they just don't care.
Yeah.
Something has to change. And especially with the epidemic of these young... So, for example, right, Sophia, All her friends now are triggered. All of them are going through a generation of depression.
Yeah.
All of them. And there's nothing out there for them.
So do you feel that mental health professionals take suicide risks seriously enough?
No, not at all. No. I went on TikTok because, like I said, the other social media I couldn't be on right now. But hearing so many mothers who just lost a child 2 months ago from bullying, 5 months ago, a couple of months ago, this woman lost her mother, then her brother, who, just killed himself. There's so many people dying. So it's just like another tick for oh, well, that person's gone. We can do better. But they're not doing better. And I'm telling you, if nothing is going to change, we have to make it change, because I am so angry with them. And I don't trust them as far as I can throw them.
Yeah. And what do you think should change, the laws regarding buying poisons and things, on dark web?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing with dark web is it
should be shut down, really,
can't be tracked and all that,
I just don't understand how it's still going.
Yeah.
Suicide Forum, that Sophie was always on,
felt
when you've got suicide idealisation, these people that are on there can actually help people to commit suicide. That's what they do.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they do. So they give her the link. So what Sophia had to do, she had to buy an Airbnb room, and that's how she got it. And the person then sent her the poison through the post. And
that was through the dark web, how they told her to.
Yeah.
And actually, you're part of a murder, really.
Exactly.
Because, I think a long time ago there was a girl who encouraged her boyfriend to keep telling him to kill yourself. Yeah. And then he went on and did it. And then when they got a phone and they saw the messages, she was really pushing him into it. Yeah. I think she actually got found guilty for that, because you are actually, part of assisted murder, in a sense. Yeah. Which is sick.
Yeah. But they don't.
And the dark web gives this hiding place for all these people and pedos and murderers and weirdos.
£100 to kill yourself. That's literally all it was. And there was just no. What makes me panic was she actually talking to somebody at the time, encouraging her. I'll go for it now, because on Reddit she just said 1 hour to go.
And her partner, that guy, did he know anything about the conversations that went on, or?
Nope.
But he knew about the poison.
Yeah, he knew about the poison.
And he said he got rid of it, but he didn't.
Yeah, and that morning, like I said, he finished with her. And when I told him, well, it's okay, she's coming home, he apparently went back. He said, I didn't know she's coming back. Then he went back. So I don't know what he said or did. But there was a message that Sophia gave him and just said, look, you'll do well, with a smiley face. And he said, oh, don't be silly. You will too. He said, don't do anything. Don't do anything or I'll kill you. I went, wow. And she just put a smiley face, and that was the last message she got. And then I phoned him and said, have you heard from Sophia? He said, well, no. I said, well, do you know anyone who's heard from Sophia? I said, I'm really worried. Because he knew Sophia and I knew, and he knew I knew she was capable. Well, I don't think he believed she was capable. I think he was going to finish with her that day and try and get back with her on Monday. Yeah, because Sophia brought him all his computer stuff, and, she just, put him on a pedestal. And no one would have loved him the way she did. No one will. And so then when I found out, I phoned him up, I said, she's done it. He said, what do you mean? I said, oh, I suppose you'll be your partner now, aren't you? Yeah, she's dead. She's killed herself. I said, I can't do this. And I just put the phone down. And do you know what he said? I said, and so then the next day, obviously her father was absolutely traumatized. We're all traumatized. We all come round together, we're all crying and just getting bits and bobs and stuff. So then we had to go to Cardiff to identify her. I messaged him and said, look, do you mind us meeting up? He said, oh, no. He said, all my friends said your message, you're blaming me. And I actually didn't blame him. I actually told she would have done it one way or the other, Sophia. She always had that ability. And he said, no, I can't speak to you. I went, wow. And that was it. And then I said, you know what, your final words were, because I got really angry then, was, oh, I'll kill you. I said, well, obviously you literally did, didn't you? And that was it. He said, have a nice life.
What a bastard.
Yeah. Yeah. Have a nice life. What a joke. Yeah.
And it must hurt as a parent seeing your child with somebody who they like, and you know in your heart that's bad news.
Yeah. I told
You're
her that.
fucking bad news.
Yeah. So,
but you don't want to say anything because your child, you know, you want to...
No, I told her. Because she came home, about 2 weeks was the last time she came home. And, you know, cutting her nails, cutting her hair, you know, and we're having a giggle. And she was upset in the bath. And I said, what are you crying for? I said, I thought you just had a nice moment with your friends and stuff. And I could hear her talking to him. Anyway, she was upstairs and she was begging him. Oh, my God. I said, Sophia, I'm going to come up there in a minute. I said, you can't do this. You know, you're worth so much more.
Yeah.
You know, you're so bloody powerful. What the hell? You know, what are you doing? She goes, don't you dare come up. Don't you dare come up. I said, right, okay. I messaged him. I said, you're killing her. I said, you said you were going to finish with her a couple of weeks ago because, you know, it's destroying you and you can't do your exams or whatever because it's too much for you. And yet, when you said you were going to break it up, you've got closer. I said, you're killing it. And I said, and then when Sophie said, yeah, I told him. I said, he's killing you. And this isn't working. And I said, I'll kill him if he does anything to you. And she just giggled. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that was her final quest. So if he couldn't love me, yeah, even though she knew she was loved, and she did, because she's always said that, my mum loves me and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, but I think it was a final, this is my time to go now. So to write a letter the way she did, you know, and to say, like, I'm so sorry, you know, to be so cruel, but I'm tired and living like me is hard, it's killing me to live this life and be me. And she said, obviously, those that loved me couldn't help, and those that could have really didn't care. So she said, this is the inevitable thing that's going to happen now, and I'm just sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's nothing you could have done or said.
No, I don't think.
That would have prevented her, you know?
Exactly. That she had made that decision right there. And thank God she wrote a letter.
Yeah.
Because the trauma of not writing that letter. You know, I actually went on a suicide web and I actually gave them their letter, and everyone thanked me because they could see it from their point of view, because they were never given a letter and they were always wondering.
Yeah.
And that was quite, you know, profound.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but I felt, you know, Sophia wrote it to everybody. It wasn't, hi mum, or it was to my friends, family, friends, loved ones, close friends. And that's how she headed it. And then her dad's moaning, well, she could have written a private letter. I went, oh my God, yeah, that's you all over.
Oh man.
Make it about you.
So let's talk about your other daughter. She's still alive and she's still fighting cystic fibrosis.
Yeah, kidney failure as well.
Kidney failure as well. And I mean, she's had a double lung transplant and she's what, 15 years since having it, right?
Yeah, coming in May. Yeah,
which is very rare.
Yeah.
So, tell us about that. And then also, where does the kidney failure now come in?
Right. Yeah, that all heads to having cystic fibrosis, the kidney. They're just learning about that. So yeah, Alethea, like I said, 2011, got a pair of lungs. And you know, the strangest thing is, when they got the lungs, you know what comes with that is depression. Wow. So you've had 15 years of care by a hospital that overtakes you, gives you treatment non-stop, takes over your life. If you want to go on holiday, you have to ask them. Yeah. Then they give you a new pair of lungs, and for the first time in their whole life, they take a deep breath.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember, so when Alethea, before she had the operation, all her nails were blue because she had no oxygen left.
Wow.
Yeah, she had 9% of her lungs working. And they said that how she was walking was a miracle. They cannot understand that. Again, I never pandered to the illness. I always said she was better than that, she's stronger than that. So I would wait So what would take her half an hour to walk, I'd walk like 10 minutes, like 5 minutes ahead and just wait for it to catch her. Like, come on. You know, like push her. That was, that kind of worked. So the first thing I noticed after the op, she had pink nails. I went, wow. Like, wow.
Amazing how quickly the body kind of adapts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because it's a huge organ as well. The operation took 13 hours. And 2 top surgeons she had. The first surgeon got cramp in his hands because he couldn't get the lungs out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the second, so she was lucky to get that. I think divine timing was there.
Yeah, and where was that done in the UK?
Great Ormond Street, hospital, and then I remember the first time Alethea breathed, she went, oh my God, I can't breathe, and they actually held her and said, that's what it's like to breathe. Because she used to breathe from like that all the time. That's how she breathed all the time. And it just got worse and worse. But the thing is, cystic fibrosis, people don't know because they don't experience normal breath. Yeah. So to them, that's normal. But you always see the throat being chugged. Yeah. So you always knew when they were really bad. So then she kind of had a good couple of years, but it came with depression because she didn't know how to live. Yeah. Because she'd always been like ill. And they suddenly give you a pair of lungs, say, oh, there you go, now off you go. And it's not good. Because she had, so in our family, Alethea was the first to get the lungs. Right. So I had no one to like compare to. And in a way that helped because I was in denial. Like they were telling me it weren't working. I'm like, oh God, she'll be fine. You know, convincing myself. Yeah. And that time, Alethea was really, really struggling. She was 3 stone. She had machines and tubes. What's that in kilograms? The operation. Yeah. Well, I don't know if kilograms, but just 3 stone. Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that would be.
Probably like, I don't want to say. I think if you're like 70 kilos, you're probably around 10 stone. So if you think...
God, should be probably in your 30s, isn't it?
Probably 20, 30 something kilos. Yeah.
Well, she had a feeding tube, didn't she? So that's how ill she was before she had that. Like I told you, you know, that time where she couldn't take her proper breath with a new lung, she still had a BiPAP machine. You know, you've got this child in front of you with all this huge scar going around, and then she's being washed on the bed by nurses. You've got all these equipment on one side, all these equipment on the other side, and you just, it's a profound understanding to be in a room and see all that. And not only that, you're in a ICU unit with babies whose hearts are outside their stomach, like on their chest, beating and stuff. And then if a baby died in front of you, they operate. So you're witnessing all that as well. It's not just, you know, no one prepares you for that.
Yeah, so she sees that every day.
Yeah, it's like a complete, But the nurses were the most kindest and the best she had. And then she did get depressed, and Alethea talks about it a lot, that there's nothing in place for these children who are suddenly given lungs and told, well, you kind of don't have CF now, but they do. But we don't give you a CF doctor now because you're turning into an adult and all you're going to get is lung transplant. Then these lung transplant people don't know much about CF. You know what I mean? So you're just being passed buck to buck again. So again, it was a challenge of having to get the right treatment for Alethea. And a lot of people who've had transplants, believe it or not, can become suicidal. Yeah. Because there's no, like Sophia, there's nothing out there to actually... I mean, to me, these kids are the teachers. Shouldn't we be learning from them and listening to them and trying to be better because they see things differently to what we do, you know? We think we know it all, we don't, you know? When children are challenged, if you give them just that time and what you hear, you just get quite profound. It's like, wow, you know, you have more than what we think. We don't give them enough credit, these kids. So Alethea just then started going on a mission, you know, living life, getting a band, playing, outside, busking with music. Her voice is just something else. She's like an angel of high voice. You know, she can hit any notes. But again, confidence. When you've not lived like a normal person, gone to school like a normal person, you don't come out with any exams because you spent all your life in hospital. It's that loss of what do I do? All I'm used to is being in bed for the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that just comes with CF. It's not just CF, it's everything that comes with it. Do you know, I've not even felt any of this because I've been talking.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it?
And how many times have the doctor told her now that she won't make it?
Yeah, so you're about the kidney as well, aren't we? So with CF, from a young age, you don't do it now because they've learned that actually causes kidney failure. So people who are diagnosed with cystic fibrosis now aren't given the amount of IVs they were given. So basically they were the guinea pigs, and now they realise what they've done doesn't work for them. It causes kidney failure. So they gave her IV treatment. She'd have about 5 different antibiotics going through an intravenous line for 2 to 3 weeks at a time, 4 weeks at a time, 3 times a day. All these different powerful drugs going through the body, like chemotherapy.
Yeah.
So they're trying to wipe the bugs from, but it never did. It just helped them to live a bit longer. So the lungs didn't completely give up. But then you start running out of antibiotics, don't you, when you get to that point. So with all that in place, and then you're giving sort of anti-immune suppressants, aren't you? Which then as well cause effect towards the kidneys. So you're giving lungs and saying, yeah, this is it, but then your kidneys start to go. And you're trying to protect your lungs. So, you know, Alethea, so she's diabetic as well, so she injects like 4 or 5 times a day. She has about 40 different drugs. She's on antidepressants as well. She's on so many supplements to try and keep. And now she's on dialysis, which is 3 times a week for 4 to 5 hours. You just got to hand yourself over. At first, she hated it, but she knows that if she doesn't, she dies.
Yeah.
So in between since Sophia passed, she's faced death, probably 2, 3, about 4 times.
Wow.
But you see, that's the thing. She keeps, you know, and I'll repeat that word when somebody's like, odd, like, is like a miracle, an anomaly. Also, I can't say it, dyslexic.
But yeah, I think it's important to try and stay positive. Even, you know, it's easier said than done. Yeah. But if doctors say you've got only 3 to 6 months to live, don't just take it as, oh, I'm going to die because he said so or she said so. But rather try and stay positive, good mindset, see yourself as, no, I'm going to beat this.
Yeah, I think that's what led me onto my spiritual path, you know, this healing, where it started with Reiki. Alethea always says it when she was little and she had pain in her stomach, I put my hands on her and I'd wish it away. And she goes, Mommy, can you do that? And it works.
Yeah.
And I think healing is a sense of love. When you love so much that you can create a sense of field. So a doctor's willing enough to put that on a child and say, oh God, yeah, you've only got 6 months to live. And without the repercussions that they're actually putting a time on a child. And that child could believe that. So I had to fight the system. I was always Alethea's voice and Sophia's voice. It's only now, for the last 2 years, Alethea's got a voice. You know, now I can leave her. I don't have to be that like, whoa, what are you doing? You know, she fights for herself now and demands and tells them not to talk to her like that. If they don't come in and introduce themselves, she say, well, you can go out the room and come back in and tell me who you are before you talk to me, because I'm a human being. You know, she really teaches them stuff. But that's the thing. You get one gift and then you get something else, or you get something else. So now Alethea got a few bugs in her lungs. She got pneumonia last year, or would have been this year, and it caused her left lung to have a bit of damage.
Right.
For that reason, even though she's like okay, they've taken it off the list, and now she's having to fight for her life again because she knows the machine won't keep her alive that long as somebody else.
And would they give her like vaccine for pneumonia? Because I think you need only one in your lifetime.
She's had all that. The flu jabs and stuff like that. It's a bit different because the genetics are different. She's very susceptible.
Okay.
She doesn't have no immune system, so you know her pneumonia comes quite rapidly. But even though she has no immune system, she heals, and that's what confuses them.
Yeah.
So like when she has the piercing, she still heals, and you're told that you can't do that.
Yeah.
So in her mind, and that's the gift I really believe I've given my children, the best gift I've given them is that they're powerful. Even though Sophia took her life, she did it because she chose it. She wrote the letter. That was her decision. I couldn't keep it here for me. God, I wish I could. And parts of her didn't want to die, but she always thought of death. Everything around her was like death. You could see it with her artwork and, you know, her writing. It was always dark. But there has to be a system where these people are actually able to speak and be listened. And that's, you know, where we're at. They still don't.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Right, so obviously we know she's on the dialysis now, and she's waiting for a kidney. So how is that now going to work? Because obviously she's waiting for it now, and I think obviously you're not a match.
No.
And but her
dad isn't a match.
Yes. So but he's willing to give a kidney.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like you give one and you can receive one, right?
Yeah, it's called the share scheme.
Okay.
And that's what we managed to see another doctor. And he was, you know, he really listened to Alethea, just said, this is how it is, you know.
Yeah.
If someone's out there to give you a kidney, why the hell aren't you giving me the kidney? You know?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
That's what I want to
But he did ask her this question. If you knew you could die on that table, would you take it? And she said, well, I've never been asked that. So, but then she did ask that because when she had the transplant, the lungs, she threw her arms up. I'll never forget it. She went down and with acting like everything's going to be okay, she put her arms up and said, if you're all with me, look after me to spirit all her friends that have died. That's what she did. But in a way, I don't think she really realised death. But this time she did, you know, realise death. It's different, you know. And I've kind of forgot what I was all about.
The kidney, give one and receive one,
so
right?
when he turned around and said that, she questioned it. Right, okay. So what he's saying to her, I want you to be in the best health that you are. So this kidney works. But he said the system is letting you down. So he agrees that we've let you down. We haven't been consistent with you. We're treating you like you're just a normal kidney person, but you're complicated. So we need to get all the doctors together and get this done. And unfortunately for Alethea, she's all right for 2 months, 3 months when they could have done it, and then she slides, and then she has to fight again, and then she gets poorly again.
Right.
I mean, she's, honest to God, this year she has spent her entirety in hospital, and it's the first since September, I suppose, that she's been out.
Right.
First time.
So they are waiting for her health to be good enough to actually receive the kidney and have it is
for her.
Okay, and the dad will give a kidney. So why aren't they?
Well, that's another thing. So you know when you ask, and it killed her to do that, to ask people to, you know, because everyone said, I'll give you a kidney. Everyone does that, right?
Yeah.
But they don't. And she said, I can't ask anyone to do it. She said, it's just like to me, you can't ask. I said, well, you can. Because somebody out there does do it. People go in the hospital all the time to offer kidneys to people. So she did it. And it was like, yeah, and not one of them went to be tested. And it's like, that hurts then. And she said, well, it's all bloody talk, isn't it? You know, but everyone wants to save your life. But when it comes to the point, no one's interested. Yeah. You know, it's just one kidney. It doesn't cause you a problem. You could live with one kidney. I could.
Yeah. And her blood type?
Yeah.
So she can give blood to everyone, but she can't receive.
Yeah, exactly.
So okay.
Yeah. So that really upset her. But then her dad said, look, do you know what? If it's the least thing I could do to make things right, you know, this is what I have to do. So many years ago, after Alethea got her lungs, I had a conversation with her dad in a field in Cardiff, and I just said to him, "Do you know what, Gary?" I said, "Will you just do me one favour?" He said, "What?" I said, "Will you keep your kidneys, like look after him?" He said, "Why?" I said, "Because I may need to ask you." It's as if I knew.
Yeah.
So I already had asked him. He said, "I'll never forget you asking." I went, "Oh my God."
Oh.
And here we are. You know, is that manifestation, do you think? Or?
So, yeah, I guess in a sense, but I mean, where's the kidney then? Why is she waiting?
Because she's not on the list. You need to be, that's the thing. So this
and her lungs is deteriorating while she's waiting.
Yeah, they're starting to have an effect because of the machine. But the thing is, they're not, so say the doctor talks to Wythenshawe and then Wythenshawe doesn't get back, and then it's the same thing. When are they going to have this meeting? And it's tiring. We only had a conversation with him the other day and said, look, you know, they're waiting for you. And he said, I promise I'll get in touch. Well, I get in touch. And they said, do any of you care? She said, I'm trying to keep alive and you lot are taking your time. But I'm so glad she's found that voice, because she really is a powerful, and I say powerful because I think every human is, once you own yourself.
Yeah.
And you fight for yourself, for the right causes, and yet fight for other people at the same time. It's a quality.
And for those people who don't know what cystic fibrosis is, how can you tell them what it is and the effects on the body? And do you wish more people knew about it?
Yeah, because it's a very common disease that two parents, say for you've never had kids, and say your partner, and then you have a child together, you could have a child with CF without even realising.
Yeah.
Because genetically, if you've got the same codes, which is genetic, Delta 546, I believe, Alethea might correct me. If you both have that gene, there's more likely that, like for example, my friend, it was the third child who's shown signs of it.
Right.
And then all the children had CF. So she could lose them all. That's how, so it depends on how it fits. So cystic fibrosis is basically your lungs can't remove the phlegm. It builds up.
It's almost like you drown in your own
That's
phlegm
exactly
then.
what it is.
Wow.
Yeah, and not only that, your bowels, your kidneys, your liver.
Affects everything.
Yeah, it affects everything.
Knock-on effect.
Mm-hmm. But if you get the lungs more, it can be quite rapid. But there are new drugs out there for people. There's new ways, and I know lots of people who have cystic fibrosis. When Alethea was young, none of them even made.
Yeah.
And every person I met, I had a friend. So I was hearing that all the time, and I never knew anyone that got a transplant. So why would I know if Alethea was going to get a transplant if I knew no one?
Yeah.
And she was 15. And then after Alethea, everyone started getting them. It was quite cute. Our little family started getting them. I know somebody's actually had two. Yeah.
2 what?
2 lung transplants.
Oh, you can get it twice?
Yeah. But this is the thing. With Alethea now, if anything goes wrong, that's it. You're screwed. So if they think she's not deemed because of her lung, or she's got a bug, or something like that, they can deem her death, basically, by saying, well, we don't think she's well enough and we won't operate. And that is, as a mother, is another trauma.
Yeah.
Because I'm just praying all the flipping time.
So how do you cope now after everything that you've been through?
A lot of people ask me that. I don't really know. I just turn pain into love, I suppose, if that makes sense. I see how Alethea fought and fights, and I see how, as long as she's okay, I'm okay. And the same with Sophie. I always thought, if she was okay, I was okay. And obviously, like I said, I've lost one. And I am a spiritual person. It's not that I believe in any spirits. I just believe there's something so much more
greater than us.
And greater than us. And I've always believed that I've listened, and again, it's like Jimmy Cricket, always let your conscience be your guide. And it's stuck with me from the age of 5, all my life. And I always used to say, your consciousness is like your higher self telling you, this needs to be. So always trust it and believe in it, So I can't let my daughter's death be in vain. there's a cause for that, cause and effect, that something has to change. And if it saves one life, yeah, that's all, you know, that's a good thing. And it's the same with the CF thing. Everything I've ever gone through and experienced for Alethea, I've been able to story tell another parent to help their child. And that's how it goes through. It's like a ripple effect. You know, the old way of storytelling. If somebody's down, you tell them the story of like Sophia or Alethea's story to try and give them hope. You know, if I'm giving people hope, I have to keep believing in hope, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't lie and say, oh God, this is it. The one thing I think what scared Alethea is that she was going to lose me in all the pain. And I promised, you know, while I'm alive, I would never do that. And the vice versa, I told Sophia the same thing. If we lost Alethea, I promise you, you know, we will have to get through that.
Yeah.
It comes to a point for Sophia that every time they told her sister was going to die, oh, she'll be fine, she always is, you know, because we told it so many times, it just became a normal thing, you know. It's not normal.
Yeah.
Especially for a young girl to go through. Yeah.
And what helps you get through your hardest days?
The allotment, gardening.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
You've got such a... The photos you showed me, and we'll talk about this tattoo I'm doing, which is in memory, you know, of her. And, you know, she loved the pixies and the fairies, and we've used her. Yeah. So this fairy represents and resembles her with the hair color and everything. Yeah. And we've actually used the AI and photos of her face, and then it presented us with this fairy with her features, which I think is really cool. Yeah. And but yeah, coming back to your garden and allotment, it looks amazing. You know, it's like a proper fairy tale, like its own little world. It's really amazing. So where did you get the inspiration for that? And and the allotment, tell us about how that keeps you busy as well.
Yeah, allotments is a great thing, the allotments. We all need an allotment, to be honest. For the garden, it was just a lawn, you know, a kiddie garden sort of thing, your trampolines and swings and all that. And like I said, it was before, obviously, what happened with Sophia. So Sophia was there when it was being built and stuff. And we had the summer house built because me and James, as a partnership, we've helped many people. And we don't do it because it's like a job. We do it because we see their, like, even Sophia's friends, Alethea, we see that they hold their own power, but the society diminishes that in people that we see. So we're just like a little reminder to say, hey, God, you're so powerful. You know, you don't even see it. We just remind you who you are, yeah? Because a lot of people don't want to give it to people. It's like, what the hell? You know, and then some people do it and they're, oh, well, I did that person. You know, I did it. You know, I hate all that. You don't do it because of that. You do it because you see a smile on someone's face. So then after what happened with Sophia, the garden became even more of something that had to be done. So I actually generated, because my dad died, and I took some of my dad's garden stuff and I wanted to recreate, you know, like a memorial for my dad. And he told me all his ashes had to go into the allotment. Well, I thought, no, he's not doing that. I'm taking some and I'm going to put them in my garden. And then my mum, I said to mum, look, obviously, you know, if I die before you, obviously, but if you die before me, I want you to add something to the garden so it's in your memory while you're alive. So it was my mum's idea to do this magical yellow road, like, you know, Wizard of Oz. So then the theme started, Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, all the little childhood things that brought me happiness, like Lion and Witch in the Wardrobe. Everything that, they were real to me. They weren't stories. I believed in that. So all my girls were brought up with the fairies or the magic or the belief that they could manifest anything if they truly believed in their power. So, you know, I never kind of closed that door on that. That's all they ever knew. Like, I had altars and lighting candles and, you know, just honouring more. So then that came along, and then Sophia's death. So the garden then became a memorial for Sophia, and that's where the deer comes in. And I found this beautiful female waterfall holding a rose, and then people sent me roses for Sophia, like called Sophia, and you know, and all these elements, the rabbits, the foxes, the deers, everything Sophia loved started going into the garden. And then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it's a place that I'm trying to, you know, like people go to Mind or Talk. I want people to use the garden. I want to raise money for, as we're going to call it, Asra's Foundation, and bring awareness to other people about this particular poison. There is a cure for this poison that we don't even have on the NHS. So basically, anyone says that poison is dead when it doesn't have to be.
Wow.
That's heavy. Not in hospital, nothing. But that's all it takes is that blue stuff that I mentioned to you.
Yeah. Is it methylated blue?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Liver King loves it. Do you know his Liver King?
Oh God, yeah.
His tongue's always blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's another character, but yeah.
Oh, eating raw meat.
Raw testicles and all that.
I thought he had a bit of a thing, didn't he? That he was taking steroids, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a bit of
something.
a scandal and getting people to buy supplements when he said, all you need, you know, the 9 ancestral tenons and eating raw testicles and liver and you look like me.
Right.
And this is in my supplements. Meanwhile, his supplement cycle was like $15,000 a month or something.
God.
Something stupid. So he just lied. It was a big scandal.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of them around anyway, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing, this garden, that's, you just hit it on the nail, is the following of something. Like we can get caught up in that, like you say about gurus and stuff, and that person, like someone does breathwork, becomes a breathwork teacher. Someone like does the number thing, I'm a number 7. It's the sense of giving their identity away. And the true gift I gave to my girls was they're always in their own power. Even Sophia's depression, it doesn't mean that she wasn't in her power.
Yeah.
She manifested to go to every single country. She manifested her whole being, the way she wrote. That was all from her, you know, all that energy and life that force in her. It was the world that was making it hard for her, because they wouldn't give her the opportunity to be who she wanted to be without her feeling she had to be something else to be appreciated. That's what the world does. So this garden I've created at night, it literally lights up with just magic. You've got little fairy houses and the same with the allotment. So I read this book called Feinhorn, and it's based in Scotland, and it's about travellers who brought some land on the sea. And this guy communicated with fairies, and the fairy said he could grow in the sand, and it was never heard of. But anyway, he listened to him, and this story's all based on it. And this became then where travellers, it was like people like ourselves, like come together. They want to live in a community, but I don't want to live in a community. I'm not a community person. I'm very isolated. I do like my, what's the word? I like being alone.
Privacy.
Yeah, very, very much that. So, but I don't mind the community thing, and I think it's good for people to do that, but I'm not like that. I have to own that. But this community started growing, like the vegetables. Like say, like you've got a marrow, it'd be like 5 times bigger, grown in sand. Yeah. So what it teaches you is if you honour the earth, whether it be fairies, trolls, or whatever it is, butterflies, something. If you're looking at the earth as a living thing, as the mother, and when you're putting your hands in and connecting with the soil, you know, that's her flesh. So it's not just dirt, it's the flesh. So you're connecting differently. And then what happens is like an agreement between the earth and yourself, and they protect your vegetables. So I made a fairy garden at the allotment. And ever since I did, it was just a piece of concrete, honestly, so unlived, next door shed. And all the birds dropped a tree or a little bush, and all this little garden just created itself, And I just tell everyone, like, if you just offer something to the fairies, or you just pull it, like, you know, just have a look and acknowledge it. It's just passing energy to each other. And that's how the garden became, you know. We both do our work. I've now created the room into a forest. And my upstairs is into like a magical wonderland with big trees and all flowers and lights. And at night, I put so many stars. You know, when it was COVID.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this whole ceiling it's got moons and stars and shooting stars. And at night, it just glows. Like you're looking at the moons and the stars at night. It's so cool.
Nice.
I love it. I wish that was my room, actually. But that's how I've done it.
Yeah.
It's the wonder. Yeah.
And how does it feel to keep a memory alive?
Oh, absolutely.
In such a, you know, beautiful way?
She totally deserves to be kept alive. You know, there's the saddest thing. A friend said that somebody said to her, like, don't you think you should have got over it by now? She looked and she said, she was my person. She was everything. She saved my life. How can someone not be important that saved my life? And she saved a lot of people's lives. Yeah. She couldn't save herself, but she could save everyone else. And, you know, so when I wake up in the morning, it said, I buy her flowers every week. I put it on the altar. I light the candles. I always feel like, you know, like the other day when I was doing the room for my friend, a butterfly was in the room, and the butterfly, I told you about the spirit. I could see the butterfly, like literally. I'll have to show you that as well.
Yeah.
Just fly past. They're not a memory, I believe. It's like, I do believe the more you keep the spirit alive, that they become the essence of your life. But what I miss is her presence physically. I cuddle both my girls now. They'd always get into bed with me and want to cuddle now. She did that the same week, wanted to cuddle before she left. I miss that.
Yeah. And if your daughter could see you now, what do you think she'd say to you?
Oh, she'd be proud of me. Yeah,
I
she's
think
always
so.
proud of me. You know that card I mentioned about the bumblebee?
Yeah.
She said, if I could be half the woman you are, then I feel like I would have made it. And that just kills it. That makes me cry. Because she was. She was more than me. I just wish she could see it. And that card she wrote was just so... She always wrote cards with meaningful. She got that because she was Persian. They had this poetry about them. Their hearts it's different to us. And everything, like even a father, you know, if he writes my mum a card, it's like 2 pages long of how beautiful she is as a mother. And, you know, it's a gift to see that in somebody, especially males as well. But it's just like, yeah, I know she'd be proud. And parts of me feel like she probably, why did she do it sometimes as well, you know? Because I did tell her 3 weeks before, I said, Sophia, life gets better with age. We all go through this crap around this age. We all want out. I did at your age. I wanted out. I say I ended up in hospital a few times. The one thing that stopped me doing it is I heard this woman say, oh, bloody Miss Jones here again. Trying to kill herself. And I thought, oh, Jesus, I'm not going to be one of them. And I stopped trying then, you know? All I wanted was attention. And with Sophia, it wasn't attention because she didn't tell people.
Yeah.
I was screaming. She wasn't. She was quiet. So I hope she's proud. I know for a fact she's helping Alethea, 100%, because things are just happening that have never happened before for Alethea. And it's like she's working from the other side on another level. I do think good people that die, you know, when people say, why is it good people that go and the bad people stay? Well, maybe this is hell and they're in the right side, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how can, like, you know, like Robin Williams, when he went, I just thought they must do good. They must do good. They're trying to make this world a better place. I know it sounds weird, but if I don't have hope and see life like that, then what have I got? Well, that's it. That's the end.
What do you want people to take from your story?
That anything's possible if you believe it. That if you have a version of your life, I never say future because I live for every day, because every day can be different and every day has a challenge. And every day, you know, you've got to be prepared for the next challenge, you know?
Yeah.
So you've got to be open to belief and hope that all this that's happening, there's got to be something so much more. And people always say to me, oh my God, I don't know how you cope. Well, I said, I got no bloody choice. Do you think I enjoy this?
Yeah.
You know, oh, I couldn't have coped. That's what they say. I could never cope with what you cope with. So I said, yeah, but you're not in my position. So how do you know? So
exactly.
It's just, yeah, belief and hope. And you know what's beautiful about Alethea as well? She gives hope to other people. She's like I call her like a doula. She helps people transition to the other side because she knows no different. And she does it and she holds their space even in her own pain. She knows they need her and she'll do it till as much as she possibly mentally can. It's very different now because Sophia, it's very different for her to cope with a lot now because that was one of the hardest things she's ever had to cope with. And do you know what she said, Alethea? She said what she's scared of more than anything is that she doesn't want to die because she's worried about me and my mum. I mean, what a thing to say. Again, it's that selflessness.
Yeah.
It's pure.
And what do you think needs to change in the mental health system? Everything.
Yeah, everything. So, like James, who I met, he does work from a different level. Yeah, so what they do, how they work is basically for you to do the work. So you're not reminded of all the same traumas that you've gone through, because they do that, don't they? Oh, what have you been through? What blah? Say it again, do it again. Why do you think this has happened? But with these new people who've got new ways of doing stuff, bring it in, because the old way, the book way, the old school isn't working. It's clearly not working.
Yeah.
So this is what I've got such an uproar with this society. They do not, like everyone else is advancing. We are still stuck in a particular way because it's the way it's meant to be. Like I told you about learning stuff in school, it's the same old tripe, you know.
Yeah.
They learn about World War II when there's wars going on in the world now. They should be woken up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
So these people who got new ideas, I mean, so when I met James, I had a massive breakdown and I did all this internal family system. It's called IFS. I think it's an Australian man. He figured it all out. And basically, he would hold space, direct me to go in to rescue the parts of me that were still scattered. So like, say, for example, when my dog got killed. Yeah, I'm still living that trauma because I've never had to face it. I wasn't allowed to speak about it. So I would go in to find myself as a child of that age, and I would remind myself that I'm okay now, and that child doesn't need to protect me. That child can go and do something else. So I would ask myself, what would make you happy now? You know, you don't have to look after me anymore. And the child would say, oh, I just want to go to the fairy garden then. And then you give it that child, and that part of you then gets healed.
Yeah.
Strange it is, but it works because you're in control. You're handing your own power back because you're working on yourself.
So you must talk to yourself like that.
Yeah. And then that person would say, so, you know, what do you feel? What would you say to yourself, you know, now? You know, because you're an adult now, what are you saying to yourself as to that child that's still hurting? And it's like so the parenting then, you're parenting the parts that are, you know, destroyed. And the part with James, he did do that with Sophia. And there was a part of Sophia didn't know how to want to get well. She knew she had to get well. She knew it was a lot of work. And she wasn't prepared for that either.
Yeah.
She said that, she wrote it down. And she looked at television, she used to say, it's all false, all these happy endings and, you know, what is all that bullshit? She said, you know, everyone's suddenly like, you know, you've got the American love things and the children's programs and a boy comes in and you're a high school, you know, all that. She hated it all because it was all crap. It was just a society making you believe this is the way life is, and all she could see was pain. Because her family went through pain.
Yeah.
It's not a fairy tale ending, I suppose. So yeah, I feel like the system needs to shift and let other people take over. And I say that to doctors, and I've said it to teachers. I think it's your time to retire, because you're definitely not in it anymore.
Yeah, I'd like to add that if somebody goes into that direction, not to do it, not to see it as a paycheck, but if you don't really care about people, and people that come to you with problems like suicide, and if you can't really sit and talk to them and really be compassionate and help them, then you shouldn't even be in that line of work.
Exactly. But you know what? Their ego. Well, I'm getting paid for it. It's an easy job for me.
Yeah, then go work rather at a bloody drive-through or something.
I will never forgive. Again, that's something I need to change. On Sophia's notes, fortunately, they do word for word. And now they know they've made a huge, massive mistake. I mean, they've gone to the EU. I don't know why. She keeps saying to me, like, I'm sorry we haven't given you any of the meetings. I'm having some information from the EU. I'm thinking, no, you got some from EU because you're trying to protect yourself. That's what you're waiting for. But it's just, the whole system is, and I forgot what I was on about again.
But what do you want to say to parents or families who are struggling right now, or maybe parents who's lost a child to suicide, or maybe parents with a young child who's just been diagnosed with, cystic fibrosis, or what advice can you give to these parents?
The only advice I can only go from my own experience is never to truly believe what you're told. Always research, always go down the rabbit hole, find your own information. For example, if your child with CF is having a symptom and they're telling you it's this, but it's not, do not trust them. You must, because there's many times, Alethea, like I told you before, and they told her it was the end for her, and would you like to come off her medication? That was 3 years ago. She's still here. And I said to them, she's not just even here, she's looking stunning, she's got driving, she's buying a house. You could have taken that away if I listened to you. And parents do. They have faith. So all I'm saying is to parents, don't have faith in this system. Trust your own instincts and keep fighting for justice. Because if you accept an apology and believe they're going to do something different, then you're surely not doing anything to change it.
Yeah.
You have to fight. You've got to find for your child's, like for Sophia, there's no way her death is going to be in vain. Yeah. I'm just one of those parents that just, my whole life now will be dedicated to that.
Yeah.
And I think we go through those for that. I think like going through CF, the whole thing is because you see things differently.
And if you could speak to people in power right now, what would you ask them to change?
I don't believe in any of them. They're not prepared to change. They don't care. And that's the hardest part. So if they don't care, we have to be the change. No one else is going to do it for us. They're not even responsible, really, are they? They're just in power. They just get all the money for doing nothing. So they don't care. I'm going to have to say it, they don't care about all those children who've just been killed. I mean, that's a big one. That tells you how much they do not care. They care more about their own power. So every child to them who's taken their life or ill, look what they're trying to do to, like, Alethea's disability right now. She's unable to work. She worked for a day. She'd be in bed for 3, 4, 5, just recovering. Yeah. She's got no immune system, so she can't be around loads of people. So, to threaten, I know she won't be touched, because of medical records, but it's not the point. It's coming at people that are so vulnerable, and they're making them the targets of, like, well, we should be paying DLA to these people. Don't, they make it as a whole. You don't just, some people do defraud these people. Yeah, they're the people who, like, who just are a lot older and just, But these kids, don't attack them. And if people are dying of suicide, ask yourself why. What's your system failing? That's what I would ask him. Why do you think these beautiful, kind, gentle, intelligent humans are taking their lives?
Yeah.
How can you be irrational about that without even questioning it? Do you know how many people died last year? 250,000 people in England.
Wow.
Of suicide.
That is crazy, man.
Yep. And do you know what the government never do? Never mention it. Why?
Yeah.
Because they know they're doing something wrong. So if they admit that these suicide, it's like brushed under the table, like it's nothing. Oh, well, it's another death, okay. That's just not the case.
Well, for a start, I don't even watch news and stuff because it's very depressing.
Yeah, I don't either.
And you can't believe any shit they put on there anyway.
I mean, can you imagine if the news turned to being like positive? Oh, you're like, whoa, that's really good. It'd make you feel good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
News, good news, positive stuff, but it's just drones.
Yeah, the thing is, people don't, it's like they don't really care about positivity. There's this guy, financial guy, whatever, Rob Moore. He said when he posts on Twitter, when he puts a positive message out, then nobody cares, no one engages, no one. But if you put some end of the world story up, then it's just going and it's being shared and people engage and people argue. It's like people love the drama and all this shit.
Well, there's a story that me and Leif always talk about. So, for example, when Alethea's poorly, obviously I always used to have asked for healing. When she had a lung transplant, I had prayers from America, Iran. People made cakes in Iran for an offer of a prayer for Alethea.
Yeah.
People in Cyprus, everyone, all over the world. Weird, because my storytelling spread out. So everyone knew about Alethea. And like Sophia, the whole story, Because, I look at stories like whisperers. The more you talk about it, the more people hear about it. Now, when Alethea was always faced with death, or she's really bad, oh my God, the amount of messages she got. Oh, Liv, thinking of you. Then she goes and does a massive cabaret, raises £3,500, right? Has a proper orchestra behind her. Have no one else said anything? And it's like, wow. Anytime she did any good, and we always talk about it, no one had anything to say. Like, shit, wow, well done, go for it. It was just like, but then as soon as she was ill again, everyone, I get hundreds and hundreds of messages for it. And yeah, you're right, dead on. Why?
Yeah, it's weird.
Because, and I look at when you're in a car and they have the radio every hour, the news every hour used to be on television. And every time I go on my mum's, it's the news. And I'm like, oh my God. Do your research, Mum. Just do your research. Turn it off and do your own research because you believe everything you hear. And the more you hear it, you get more and more depressed. And that's all they've got. That's all this government's got. Keep us down, keep us depressed, keep us wavering. That's all they've got. Got hope. They've got nothing left.
So tell us about this fairy tattoo,
yeah.
How, what does it symbolize to you now?
Yeah.
And,
Because, like I said, the journey has been with fairies, majority. I don't like, not like Tinkerbell's fairies and all that. That's not my, I've never watched those kind of programs. But fairies represent, like the wings. And not so much new beginnings with the wings, but, when you see a butterfly or you see a dragonfly and, little moths. I mean, I think they're fairies. You know, because they've got to be, haven't they? You see like the fireflies and stuff and, they've got their own personalities, haven't they? So I'm trying to represent because the dough, I called it faux for ages and Leif says it's not. Is it faux or dough? Dough faux?
I think it's a dough.
Dough, okay. Yeah, obviously.
Or a deer, or Bambi.
Yeah. Leif said it's not bloody faux, it's dough. Like, oh, okay. So the dough represents Sophia's gentleness, her eyes. Her eyes were just, the biggest, brownest eyes ever. you know, and the whites around it were just huge, you know. And I look at the doe and the fae and all that, is a sense of gentleness and everything that represents Sophia. And you've captured her in such a beautiful light. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to reveal it and for you to see it at the end.
Yeah. And then you've got to do Alethea's journey as well.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get her on and then hear from her, you know, the journey and the personal experience, what she's had to deal with, you know, with the healthcare system, the lung transplant, everything. I think it'd be really interesting to have her on.
Well, so I think it's why she, you know, she calls you a legend, and, you know, you will take it as a compliment because, you know, just even you even offering that to her means you're a person with integrity and, you know, you interested. It's a huge thing for somebody who never gets heard. So when somebody's interested and putting something out there, like you asking me, it's like, you know, this is what I really want to do for Sophia anyway. And you kind of just like throw it at me and thought, oh, you know, this could be done, but it's right.
Yeah.
Because if we don't open up and talk and hear people's journeys, then how are we ever going to learn?
Yeah.
How are we ever going to change? How are we ever going to let that person have their story, you know?
And how does it feel that this tattoo, knowing that this tattoo is going to be carrying her memory with you forever now?
I don't know, it feels exciting in a way. So when I show, you know what I was trying to go for before? It really, when you show me that, I thought, oh, that's really nice. And then you showed me that and I went, oh my God, that is Sophia, her essence. It's like I'm carrying her essence with me. And it's not just because now I can see her all the time. You know what I mean? It's there all the time. So when I look at photographs and stuff, you know, they're just images. But I carry her on me. Essence.
Yeah.
Her essence. And thank you. And I feel like all this arm will be dedicated to her journey.
Yeah.
And this will be her journey. And then I'm just the mother bee.
Yeah.
Yeah, holding it. That's how I think the tattoo represents.
Yeah, I think it's awesome, you know.
Well, you're awesome as well, because like I said, if you know, if you went for Karen and having Sam and then you, it just, you know, it's always meant to be, isn't it? And you know your final chapter. I went home and I said, I know that final chapter from somewhere before. Like, why did I know about final chapter? I don't know if I knew I was seeking like tattoos, but it must have been yours. And now I'm here.
All worked out.
Yeah, and you're interesting. You got when you're interesting, and it's a joy to hear you and learn from you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know.
What message would you give to anybody who's lost hope?
Oh, it's a hard one, isn't it? Because in a way Sophia did, and I couldn't stop that. I think is to appreciate the most littlest things in life, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you see a tiny dandelion coming out of a piece of grass, it's to like, wow, look at that yellow, beautiful flower. Not look at it as a weed that has to be destroyed.
Yeah.
That's how I look at things, you know?
Yeah.
Just appreciate, you know, the most smallest things, because then, you know, you get more hope with that, because if you're looking at life as if it's against you all the time, and it probably is against us, but when we start finding hope, it gives us our power back. We don't feel powerless to it. And then if we choose, you see, I look at it like this, I had a choice, yeah? The one thing I've been fighting for the last 30 years, I lost the most beautiful reason why I could live, yeah? Because, you know, even though my girls were on loan, they were never mine, like, you know, happy for him to move out, happy to do, you know, just to see him grow. But if I chose the victimness of it, I would just then seep into the darkness, and I'd never find a joy in anything. absolutely. Like, I still get joy, like, with food. Like, oh, wow, you know, eating a sweet piece of popcorn. It's like, whoa, that's really sweet, that's nice. But it's that. It's just finding hope in the most littlest things and appreciating stuff. I can't force anyone to do it, but I can only guide you by storytelling.
Yeah.
That you find hope. What about you? How would you change that question if it was you? How would you do it?
Yeah, if I have to give advice to somebody who's lost hope, it is a really deep question.
Yeah.
I think it also depends on your religious beliefs and all that. You know, for me, I would speak to my God every day, just ask. I think it helps having that higher power, you know, that you can speak to, knowing you're not alone, you don't feel alone, and to ask you to just give you the strength to help you keep going every day, put one foot forward, and everything don't have to be perfect the next day, because it's a process, you know, healing process. And I see it as whether it's the ending of a relationship, or maybe the loss of a child or a pet or a job, you know, just see it as a new page. But you don't forget. Obviously, you can't compare a job to a child or a loss like that. But yeah,
we talked about that, didn't we? The comparing.
Yes.
Each to their own, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
A flaw for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But keep it there, you know, and let it make you a stronger person.
Yeah.
Because I do believe nothing's put in our path that we can't handle. Might be horrible, terrible, feel like the end of the world. But, and also it's not, you won't just get over it, you know, we just learn to live with things.
Yeah, you learn to live with it, because it's going to happen to us all, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. That's one thing that's guaranteed, is death.
Yeah.
And we should celebrate it, you know, like Dias de los Muertos, the Mexicans, they celebrate it rather than a mourning, you know what I mean?
That was her favourite film, you know.
Yeah.
The one with the boy who he died. It's the Mexican thing, and we actually watched it the week that she was there, and we were both crying because this boy wants to go to the other side, the way, you know, to find his father. Oh. Yeah, and he died. You're right. And even in Africa, they celebrate, don't they? They dance and they sing, and the Greeks, they eat around the grave, and they all come together. They celebrate their birthdays with food. We do look at death quite strange in this country. It's very like very sad, very morbid. I mean, I think most part of the world where others celebrate it because you moved on, you know. Yeah, you're free.
At the end of the day, I believe our bodies, the flesh, is just a vessel, and our spirit goes on, you know. Yeah. The energy,
the consciousness.
And then finally, how do you want your daughters to be remembered?
One, being courageous in everything they've ever did. To be the change, and they certainly have created change. And I'm just honoured to have been their mum. I'm glad they chose me to be their mum. And I look at Alethea now, she's engaged, and, you know, I know now I could, you know, I'm sort of stepping back from that work of being a mum, and actually seeing her becoming the woman that I've always seen. And I always knew Sophia could have been that woman, you know. Yeah. Maybe just too strong sometimes when I look at them, you know, as powerful beings. But yeah, just never to be forgotten, really. And yeah, it's a strange question to ask me, really. I don't know. Because they're kind of everything. So everything they've done or been or shown me, or even, you know, like Sophie, never once. I honestly wish she'd just talked back at me once in all the 22 years. She never did. Yeah. No, she just, total respect in that sense. She was just so kind of compassionate. I don't see that often. Like if I had money and she had less money, she would still want to give me money. She's that type of person, you know. And then Leaf, on the hand, right? If I ask her for some of her food, she won't want to get. She'll, wow, it's mine. But then she'll ask me for mine. I said, wow, now you've had mine, I want a bit of yours. So they're both completely different characters, but both really good teachers. That's all I can say.
Well, listen, it's been really interesting to hear your story and, you know, shining more light on this object. I've learned a lot through this as well, and through CF, and, you know, speaking to a mom.
Experienced it as well.
And speaking to you, you know, who's gone through the loss of a child, and I'm sure many people are going through the same thing. And it's just, you know, pleasure to have you here with us, and just wish you many beautiful things to come, and I'm looking forward to have your daughter on as well. And we'll do a lot more work as well.
I'm buzzing for Alethea to come, and it'll be interesting to watch back and actually listen to her, you know. It's and I just want to say thank you as well for giving me you encouraged me. That's the difference, you see. Not a lot of people do that with people, do they? And you encouraged me to do that because it's been healthy for me to talk. And thank you. Because you're not just, it's not for me, it's for all. You know, my voice, Sophia's voice, Alethea's voice. You know, it goes on and on and on.
And I think there's many people in the world who kind of goes through similar things.
Absolutely.
And they just don't know about it because people don't talk about it. And I think it's an interesting subject matter, and it will bring more awareness as well, you know.
It's like I want to say, like, thank you to you for being the change. You know, you're not doing it, you know, it's coming from the heart, and that means a lot. You know, it's not about, I mean, it could be about business, but, you know, when you're coming from the heart and experiences and you're letting that person talk, so thank you. Because,
Thanks. It's awesome.
Thank you. And I didn't feel anything. I haven't. It's weird. Thank you.
Awesome. That was great.
I love you. You love me. Let's get together. And I'm